you that respect. You know, I don't think like like if Shawn did or whatever, I wouldn't think it's disrespectful or nothing. But it's just, I guess it's something that we got just.
You know what? I can piggyback off and go on the misfolk and say you're supposed to stand in the midst of
It is.
those that are wise. So that's why I stand up when I talk.
So it's so the seat is hot. Seat's supposed to be hot.
Well, Shawn, you gotta go first. You gotta sit down in it first, and then then maybe one day after I see how you handle
that seat.
Then I might
listen. I will not sit down in that seat until that seat has been relinquished. And I'm gonna tell you when that's gonna be. That's when this gentleman over here is. I don't even want to speak it out in the atmosphere. When he's resting with the ancestors, then I might think about it.
Man, we looking
Otherwise, I will stand. Can I do what?
Rabbi might go
a little out here.
Why?
To bring it in more direct path as you're talking line.
You want to hear ourselves? How sound am I in?
Okay.
There's also a buzz. I
Oh,
don't know if it's from
you
me.
was low that one time.
What?
You did a podcast.
What? Yeah, it's not changed. It's not changing when I move it up and down.
And that's something else.
And that's I hear what that buzz you talking about. I hear it. Is that me? Don't worry about it. In my on the audio when I produce it. And if it is in there, I take it out. And I rarely have to. I've never encountered that before. I never even heard it.
Be that on your end, though, right?
I don't even hear it on my end.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We'll figure something out.
Now, I got $100,000 worth of goddamn gear in my room. I gotta take all that out. It better not be in there. Podbeam's got this new thing where when you load up the podcast, it will transcribe the whole entire thing and put chapter markers in there for you, and for a fee. And I'm just like, I ain't got enough. We don't have enough people coming in here to they don't even read the mitzvot, let alone read the transcript.
Yeah.
I think
Literally went in there and extracted what the subject matter was about. Yep, the AI is sick. The paragraph for me, and I read it, and I was like, and no, I don't want that in there, and I just went in there and wordsmithed it.
Yeah.
But basically, I was cutting out. It wrote like 3-4 paragraphs of just summary of what we talked about. Yeah. But I said, you know what? People are not coming. I know what I do when I go to YouTube, and when I go to YouTube, I'm not sitting in there reading the comment, or at least the narrative that the person made. I'm looking at the screen, but if I go and see that video that you sent, somebody wrote a narrative in there about what it was about.
Yeah.
So I don't read those. I just click on the video and start listening to it.
That's what I usually do.
Yeah.
So I don't really, yeah.
Somebody wants some more information.
Yeah, I usually only go in the description if you're trying to get, like, if they say, hey, they got a link here or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a new feature that's on there. How much time can you give me?
I can give you enough time if you need.
I need 60 seconds. Even less than that.
Urination.
Ooh, we getting on late tonight. It's 7:13. Anybody in the chat besides your mother?
There's 4 watching.
Sherry Kincaid.
Has she been here before, or is she?
She's in Atlanta. Go.
This is Rabbi Robert B. Holman Jr. and
Shawn Appleton.
this is Hebrews in Exile. And we have with us again tonight Brother Trey. We're going to talk about some things, but before we do, I want to talk about this Hebrew calendar, and I want you to explain to people the 23-24 Hebrew calendar happens to be out, and you can get this on
HebrewCalendar.com. You can go there right now. It's $35, but this is the official Hebrew calendar for 2024, 2025. And it will start with the first month, which will be in March. It'll have all of your festivals, all of your mitzvot on there that are germane to the mitzvot themselves. So it's a work that I'm very proud of putting together. It's a utilitarian style type calendar where it has the Gregorian months or at least the Hebrew calendar is superimposed over the Gregorian months. So you can always know where you're at. And then when you're reading text and you come across something that says like in the 5th month on the 7th day, you can kind of understand what part of the year we're actually in. But more importantly, this keeps us on track with all our Shabbats, and it keeps us on track with all of our mitzvot and our moedims that are germane to our calendar. Now, the one thing that I need to do in moving forward with this calendar is something that Aleka Stagg, Ambassador Stagg, asked me, which is, when do you know when the Yovel years are? When are the Jubilee years are?
yeah.
Because those play a part as well. There's a mitzvot that talk about after every 7 years, debt is supposed to be expunged, servants are supposed to be let go of, and we need to know where we are within the confines of the Yovel years, and then we have one every 50 years. I thought that actually happens. There's a mitzvot that plays into that. So that's my next move for this calendar, is to figure out where we are with Yovels and the year of Jubilees. So it's out right now, HebraiCalendar.com. HebraiCalendar.com. HebraiCalendar.com.
There is nothing on planet Earth like it. So
Yes, it's true.
For Hebrews, it's very important for us to know our days and our times and seasons, and when the Most High is asking us to do things. The Hebrew calendar, there is nothing on planet Earth that is like this calendar, so you might want to get you one.
Yeah. Let me say this one more thing before you go ahead and move forward. The one thing that I'm most proud about this calendar is what we've done on the website, because you can buy the calendar and you can find out how to read it, but the beauty of it is the explanation on how we got there. So you can go through and map back as to, well, why do we start the year on this particular day? What sets off the year on that day? And why does the year end on this day? And why does the new month start on this particular day? All of those calculations have been made for you, so you can go back and have a understanding and own, and I'm going to be hard on that, own the information so you have confidence when you present this calendar or somebody asks you about it, you can completely explain everything that's in it.
Okay. With that being said, I was asked about a question from a video on YouTube that Trey, you sent me.
Yes, sir.
It's about a gentleman who said that he was shot twice and then, I'm not seeing the rest of this, something about hell. What is it?
He was saying in the video that after he had got shot twice and he was basically pronounced dead, that he explains in his experience of how he defines it as going to hell.
Okay. Right. Now, we Hebrews, we purists, do not subscribe to the idea of there being a hell.
Exactly.
If there were a hell, it would have been mentioned in Bereshit chapter 1 and certainly chapter 2 when the Most High got through saying that he had created all things and everything was good and then he rested. In none of that narrative is there a mention of any place called hell.
Correct.
So now we have to think about something, and that is where did people get the idea that there is a hell? Because there's nothing written in Hebrew scripture between Bereshit and chapter and Second Chronicles about hell except and depending upon what Bible you're reading from. Because the King James Bible, one of them that I happen to have on my shelf that I happen to look at, in Isaiah chapter 14, it has a subtitle that is called hell. But Isaiah chapter 14 is not talking about hell, and it's also not talking about a devil. If you read the whole pretext and post-text, you'll realize that Isaiah chapter 14 is talking about the king of Babel, which is King Nebuchadnezzar. That's that whole subject.
Yep.
Nothing in there has anything to do about hell. Is this the man who shook things up? Yes, we're talking about King Nebuchadnezzar. Read it, because it also talks about how he is going to be brought down and how his end and his demise would be. So when I hear matters on this line where people say they died and went into hell, I question that, because we have been taught by the Eurocentrics, they're the ones that brought this whole hell idea into existence. You know? Yeah, I mean, it's mythology. So, what's my take on it? I am an octogenarian, which means that I've lived a good bit of life. In my days of living a good bit of life, I have also had some very hot dreams. Now, when I say hot dreams, I'm not talking about anything sexual. And many of you listening have had dreams in which that you have awakened in a hot, cold sweat, and your whole bed, your sheets are wet from sweating in relationship to what you have dreamed about. Sometimes your dreams can take you to what I call the dark side. And sometimes even people who go into comas awake and they talk about things that are either on the good side or the dark side. My father, one evening, it was a night that I chose not to go to Bible class. And I got a call at home, and they said, you need to get down to the building right now because Dad has just died in the pulpit. We had an RN nurse there in the building, and she was attending. They took his pulse, and his pulse had, in fact, stopped. His heart had, in fact, stopped for a few minutes that he was there. My father, when he finally came out of whatever had taken him there, he said, children, why did you bring me back from where I was? He was visualizing a very beautiful setting, a place where he said it was wonderful there where I was. I was at peace, and everything around me was just wonderful. Well, now that I think about it all, what my father was experiencing was the dimension of I don't know if this word is right, the precipice of where his mind was. Because his mind was always on being with the Most High. That was his thought processes. So in that experience, and his heart stopping during this segment of time, his spirit went to that place. Now, we reverse that thought, and we have people who have experienced these same kind of experiences, but on the different side. That doesn't mean that they went to hell. It doesn't mean that my father went to heaven. That's where his teaching was. Okay? It only means that your spirit is visualizing and realizing something in your mind that is of a darkness. Mm-hmm. Sheol is the abode of the soul. It is the holding place of the soul. It is also, there's another terminology that is used for Sheol, which is called limbo. Limbo is also a term that is used for the abode of the soul. So now, when we look at and we hear things of this nature, we have to go back into text, and we have to look how text talks about Sheol.
That's the only word that's used in the Hebrew text.
Yeah.
You will not find Hades and you will not find hell. The technical word is Sheol.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, because we've been trained to think that things happen in hell, that's our mental thought, that's our mental understanding.
Right.
So because it's our now remember something, okay? If you meditate on things, they will manifest in your dream cycle.
For 100%. 100%. You'll be walking throughout the day, and for some odd reason, that person or a particular situation will wind up in your dream. Maybe sometime, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I can concur with what you're talking about, because oftentimes people that I meet will be in the dream.
Yeah.
And that's because of what I'm exposed to.
Yeah.
Which gets back to, again, to your point, which is if you're exposed to this issue of Hades and demons and imps and the devil and all this other kinds of stuff, then
it manifests in your mind what you're thinking that is not real. But you feel it's real because of how you're feeling. I mean, I have to pray. When I go to bed at night, I have to pray. Well, I know you said, well, we all pray before we go to bed. No. I have to talk specifically to the Most High, and I have to say to him, Most High, I'm asking you to allow me to have a peaceful night's rest. Let my dreams be pleasant dreams. Now, I have to be specific to that because I'm prone to having things try to impede my spirit in the night. And I know why I'm targeted. I know why I'm targeted.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
See, so in order for me to have peaceful nights of rest without being impeded with things from the dark side, nothing that I'm meditating on, nothing that I'm thinking about, those spirits just try to enter my domain. I have to ask the Most High, because what is He? He is the protector and He is the guarder of my soul. And I have to say that when I do that, usually I have good dreams and peaceful dreams about things. When I don't do that and I forget, somehow things go sideways.
You know, speaking about that, let me just ask you this publicly. Have the caliber and the nature of the peace in your dreams been different because of the fact that you meditate on the mitzvot, and that's at the forefront of your
Oh, absolutely.
cognition?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I'm going to talk about some experiences I've had.
Okay.
I have had experiences in the night of being asleep where my spirit is being attacked by a foreign spirit that wants to overtake me. I feel it. I sense it. And I wrestle with it. And in my consciousness, I can hear myself calling on the name of Yahweh as my defender. I've been there. I've been there. You know, so I understand the gentleman's testimony, but you know, in his mind, it was hell.
Right.
I mean, because that's what we've all been taught.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, if we go to Isaiah 14, you know, let's see something here. Let's go there for a minute. Let me see if let's mosey on over there.
Yeshayahu 14. Where you want to start? One?
Yeah, we can start there.
Yahweh will have compassion. Yaakov. I wonder who that is.
But
Israel.
while you all do that, I'm going to go over here to Brother King of James.
Oh, okay. So we got it at the CJB. We got you're gonna do James, LeBron James. All right.
No, please don't put my basketball player in that context.
Yeah. Did you want to start reading that one?
Yeah, well, let's start because 14.
Yeah.
Chapter 14 is a chapter in which that some Bibles will do a heading in here of Lucifer or hell or whatever. But let's look at it. I'm going to look at it from the King James. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall join with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day. Is this the one I want? Yeah. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and thy fear from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet, and breaks forth into singing. Yes, the fir trees rejoice in thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, since thou hast laid down, no feller is come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee, to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones of all the kings of the nations, and they all speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy voiles. The worm is spread under thee, the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? That is an erroneous text. How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For how hast thou said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the mountain, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Now, that's King James.
Yeah. Cool, that reads totally different.
Yeah,
That's King James.
You got a
That's European writing.
different vibration.
Now, we have to go back, and as a matter of fact, instead of reading all of this, let's pick this up
At 9?
and at no. Let's pick. Let me make the transition back over here to
CJB.
yeah.
Right.
Now, let's go back over to the CJB, to the Complete Jewish Bible, and let's read it from this point, from their point. And I'm not going. Let's start. Let's start at. We'll start from the first verse and read down.
Okay.
For Yahweh, now this is the complete. Now you've heard. Matter of fact, those of you that have a King James Bible, which I've just read from, you can look at it as I read down from the Complete Jewish Bible and from the Hebraic Bibles. All the Hebraic Bibles read in this context. For Yahweh will have compassion on Yaakov. He will once again choose Israel and resettle them in their own land, where foreigners will join them, attaching themselves to the house of Yaakov. Peoples will take and escort them to their homeland, and the house of Israel will possess them in the land of Yahweh as male and female slaves. They will take their captors captive, rule over their oppressors. Then when Yahweh gives you rest from all your suffering and trouble, from hard service imposed on you, will take up this taunt song against the king of Babel.
Yep. Clarifies it right there.
So 14 is not about Lucifer. It's about Babel. But let's read down and let's see if we find Lucifer in the Hebrew, in the Masoretic text. Because we're reading from the Complete Jewish Bible, which is a writing primarily from the Masoretic text. At last, who? The oppressor is stilled, his arrogance is ended. Who? What oppressor? What arrogance? The king of Babel. Yahweh has broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of the rulers, which fiercely struck down peoples. Who's he talking about? The king of Babel. With unceasing blows, angrily beating down nations and with relentless persecution. This is what the king of Babel did. The whole earth is at rest and quiet. They break into song. Why are they breaking into song? Because the king of Babel has been struck down. The cypress rejoice over you, the cedars of Lebanon. Now you are laid low. No one comes to cut us down. What are we talking about? The king of Babel. Sheol, not hell, Sheol below is stirred up to meet you when you come. What is Sheol? It's the abode of the holding place of the soul. It awakens for you the ghost of the dead, who were leaders of the earth. It makes all the kings of the nation arise from their thrones. They will greet you with these words. Who are they going to greet? The king of Babel. Now you are as weak as we are. You have become like us. Your pride has been brought down to Sheol with the music of your lyres, under the mattress of maggots, over you a blanket of worms. Now, how have you come to fall from the heavens, morning star, son of the dawn? Who is he talking about? King of Babel. How did you come to be cut down to the ground and to conquer the nations? You thought to yourself, I will scale the heavens, and I will raise my thrones above Yahweh's stars, and I will sit on the mount of the assembly far away in the north. I will raise past the tops of the clouds, and I will make myself like the Most High. Who's he talking about? He's talking about the prince who was the king of Babel, who thought of himself to be more than what he was. Now, did you hear anything in that text, or we read anything about Lucifer?
No.
Nope. King of Babel.
Never. You won't find it.
Did you read anything in there where we said anything about hell?
No.
Sheol. That's it. Mm-hmm.
No.
So we have to understand that European writers do not have a doggone clue about the Masoretic text or Hebraic writings. They can't explain them. And when they try to explain them, they get it wrong.
Because there's an agenda.
Okay.
And this is why they get it wrong, is because their agenda is to sell you a person. From the onslaught of when you open up the New Testament and you start reading, you are being sold a person. You're
That's
not
true.
being sold mitzvot. You're being sold a person.
Yeah.
And so therefore, in selling it, you're going to get ready to talk about it. Matter of fact, this week, when jumping over into Isaiah 53, you're going to break that whole entire thing down.
Sure.
And what it appears they've done is to say they've taken Isaiah 53 and they said, let's take portions out of this and let's pattern this other person over here to meet this criteria upon which this person to talk about so he can fulfill whatever prophecy that is over there. That's the main premise, at least that's what I'm getting from this, is saying, hey, listen, you're going to get it wrong every single time because the Most High is what? When we read this text, we read it from a standpoint of understanding the mitzvah, a lifestyle of what we're supposed to live, not selling a man to us.
Right.
Now,
Yes.
with both of these thoughts in mind, what was your question about the video?
Well, my question was, and we went over it a little bit, was okay. Like we just said, we've seen in here, we've been taught hell, but it's actually Sheol. So I wanted clarity, and I wanted to see if you guys thought that he was being authentic about his experience, and that's why I want to speak this with you guys. Like, hey, because I've heard different people have similar stories to what he said, and that's what I was asking you. Do you think it's
Yes, they're all authentic. They're authentic. They're authentic. They're authentic in light of the experience that these people have had, based upon their narrative of understanding that there is a hell.
Yes.
Now, if I never had ever heard that there was a hell, then what would my experience be like? What would I be talking about?
Like what you said, you're going to what do you call it?
Your
Dark
spirit,
place?
your spirit and your soul go to a dark place within the consciousness of your mind. And if you are involved with things that are dark, then that's where your spirit and your mind are, and that's where it travels to. And because we have been introduced to this thing called hell, we think that's hell. That's not hell. That's just the dark place that your soul and your mind have gone to out of your own spirit. You see, if I meditate upon evil, then my thoughts, my dreams, and my visions are going to be evil.
Right. Yes.
And wicked.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like David said, what he said, the Most High, paraphrasing, wouldn't have chose him if he focused on these negative thoughts and these negative things. Paraphrasing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people, I mean, there was a very dear friend of mine. His name was Bishop Carlton Pearson from Higher Dimension. And Bishop Pearson early came out with this same understanding, and he brought to his people a message about there not being a hell. He literally got crucified. He got crucified. Higher Dimension was one of the most prominent ministries in the world at that particular time. I mean, he wasn't just United States, he was worldwide. And when he came out with this particular teaching about there not being a hell, he was crucified, and Higher Dimension was torn to shreds.
What did he give any other explanation?
Well, I never heard the whole message. I just heard the context of it, and after that, man, the young man was but Carlton used to come to Christ Temple, and he's preached there, for my dad, and so I knew him, but the problem being is what the young man was. He was out in front of his time.
Very much so.
If he had brought that now, he wouldn't have been crucified. Even though in the Christian church, oh, no, there's a hell. I know there's a hell. And one of the main reasons most people go to church and want to be saved is because they don't want to go to hell.
Yeah, and he probably asked the same thing that you said, like, where did the Most High say he created that?
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's a fundamental teaching that tears down the foundation of Christianity. That is, I'll tell you what, I'm going to share this with both of you. Anytime that I try to have a conversation with someone that's Christian about this, they always cower and run away from it. They never want to confront it, because at the end of the day, if they go back and do the research, I'm going to say this when I actually get them to talk. At the end of the day, when they go back and they have to have a position and have that position be based on something that's contextual, they are afraid and they cower because they don't want to read the fact that it's true. You will discover that it's true. Sheol is mentioned 56 times within the confines of the Hebrew text, and hell is not mentioned not one time, nor is the devil mentioned one time in the Hebrew text. And all of a sudden, after this 400-year Rip Van Winkleness that the Most High has, all of a sudden hell has been produced. So it's again, it's just a cornerstone, just like with our dissertations on Christ and trying to get people to understand who this individual is. There is an agenda in the New Testament to sell you this individual, and everything that comes out of it is based on that. Having that understanding and have people confront it is too much, because their investment that they've made. Because like you said, the reason why we're here is because I don't want to die and lose my soul.
Right.
And then you're telling me that the place that I could be condemned to doesn't exist? So what am I doing here in Christianity? It's not to save the person, it's to save Christianity. It's to save a way of thinking. That's what they're trying to preserve. That's why those leaders are going to come out and be like, oh no, he's a heretic. At the end of the day,
Scared of people to keep coming.
yeah, because they're trying to protect the social structure of Christianity. And if you tear that apart just by doing the research on it, it's you become an enemy of the state to them. Even though you're presenting them truth, which you throw their own text back at them. You know, you've done this eloquently before. Where is that part in Revelation where it says that something's supposed to be coming down?
Oh, in John's Revelations, and I looked and I saw a new heaven and the earth coming down out of heaven into the areats, into the earth. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're confused. Santino, I see your question there. Are Lucifer and Satan the same, or have we been confused? Now, let me start to answer this question in this context, okay?
Wow.
The
It's a good question.
Scripture Scripture is composed of everything from Bereshit, which is Genesis, to 2 Chronicles. Everything written between those 2 points are written at the behest of the Most High to anointed men that he has chosen to be voices to speak for him, because the Most High is a spirit, and the spirit needs a body to function through to carry its message. The Most High has called and ordained all of the prophets that we read about in the Hebrew text, all of the men starting from starting from Enoch, from Enoch, because Enoch was so in tune with the Most High that he just ceased to exist.
Right.
Okay? And so now we have from Enoch, in terms of all the individuals that speak for the Most High has given them the anointing, from which we get this word Mashiach. Mashiach simply means anointed or anointed one. Enoch was anointed to speak and teach on the behalf of the Most High. Enoch is the first teacher to mankind of Torah. Enoch is the first teacher of Torah. He taught the oral law or the oral principles, and it starts with Enoch, and then it flows forward to where Moshe is called upon by the Most High to be a voice or a teacher for the Most High to the opulent nation of Israel. Now, I'm giving you, I got to give you this background so you can understand how I'm going to answer this question. It is from Moshe to the Hebrew nation that Moshe speaks and teaches the Hebrew nation the things that the Most High wants the Hebrew nation to understand and live by. It is out of Moshe and out of the Hebrew nation that the prophets come out of that. So the prophets are called at the behest of the Most High, by the Most High, to speak. He says to them, several other prophets, he says, I want you, Jeremiah, to speak to Hebrew Israel. Isaiah, I want you to speak to Hebrew Israel. Obadiah, I want you to speak to Hebrew Israel. Malachi, I want you to speak to Hebrew. Micah and all of the Nahum, all these prophets, I want you to speak to Hebrew Israel. So when you hear the Most High saying that he wants them to do, that means that he has called them to function for him in this Eretz. Now we cross the street to a Greek text. There is absolutely, positively, unequivocally nothing in the Greek text where the Most High has asked anybody to speak for him. I'm going to say it again.
All right. All right.
There is absolutely, positively, unequivocally no verbiage in the Greek text where the Most High has asked anybody to speak for him. That means that the Greek text is as bogus as 2 wooden nickels.
This cat said 2 wooden nickels.
So therefore, the language in there that has brought to us this Lucifer and this Satan stuff, for which when they go back to make their points to validate themselves, as I indicated in Isaiah chapter 14. In some of the King James Bible, you're going to find the word Lucifer in chapter 14. Right. That's not Lucifer. That is the king of Babel. That's Nebuchadnezzar.
Yep. Started off saying it.
So it's not Lucifer. And it just so happens that if you read the King James, a version of the King James Bibles that they are, it is in Isaiah 14 that Lucifer, the title Lucifer, first shows up.
Correct, because it's not in.
It's not in anywhere else. It's nowhere else in the text. It's the first place it shows up. When you read the narrative from the Masoretic text, it does not say Lucifer. And when I read the text there at that point, there was not even any mention of anybody but the narrative is still talking about the king of Babel. Right. Now we get to this place of Satan. Where does he come from? Well, you ask, are they the same or are we confused? No, no, we're not. In the Greek text, they're synonymous. In the Greek text, they are synonymous. In the Hebrew text, they do not exist. In the Hebrew text, they don't exist.
Now, you look back here because you knew something was coming from back here. You knew something was coming from back here. Let me add this to this as well. Just like you had eloquently stated, Lucifer is a construct that has been instantiated through Greek mythology in the New Testament. The word Hasatan means the adversary.
Or the deceiver, right?
Or the deceiver. Something could be obstructing. That's an adversary. It's it's not some dude with some pointy horns and a pitchfork saying, I'm Lucifer. That's not such Hasatan in the Hebrew text.
Okay. Let's put it this way. Right now, I am being adversarial against the Greek text.
Absolutely.
I am an adversary of the Greek text.
So I would say Hasatan.
I'm Hasatan.
There you go.
With the Greek text, I'm adversarial about it. I'm going to speak negatively about it.
Exactly.
There is nothing good I'm going to say about it. I'm going to be an adversary to the Greek text until I go to my grave.
I'm with you on that one.
and about everything in it that wants to promote anybody or anything above the Most High El. I'm going to be adversarial about that. I'm going to be adversarial about the fact that he has given him a name which is above every name, that at the name of him it blah, 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 and that he is made of the same constitution. I'm going to be adversarial about that because that is a doggone lie. Oh, I'm getting excited, ain't I?
Yeah. I mean, you got all types of examples.
Yeah, so Hasatan only means the adversary.
David fought an adversary named Goliath.
Goliath, for those of you who don't know who Goliath is.
So you could have, you could have said David went to go fight Hasatan, his adversary, and his adversary was named Goliath.
Who was it? Slow-Mo's son, Most High, caused two adversaries to rise up against him.
Yes.
Remember that? I think that was in Chronicles.
Right. Two Hasatans.
Right. So
yeah.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
So don't pick up this Hebrew stuff over here. That's what they continue, but they're consistent because that's what they do all the time. They pick up the Hebrew stuff and they bring it over to this side called the New Testament, and they try to twist it and make it something that it's not. So
okay. Good question. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, excellent question.
Good question. So, I mean, tonight we have kind of talked about this place that doesn't exist. So now the question becomes one. So I can hear a person say, well, if I don't die and go to hell, then
That's a very good question. Where do you go?
what's the purpose? Well,
Yeah,
no, what's the
point of doing
purpose?
good?
What's the
They
point?
probably
Oh,
thinking,
yeah.
yeah, like why
What's
do
the
I have
point?
to do good if I'm not gonna get?
Well, let me answer that.
Oh gosh.
Let me answer something for you, okay? The one thing that we have to understand is the makeup of man. What makes a man a man? Okay? Man is made of the construct and the constitution of dust. The house we're talking. Well, let's put this. Man is made in three parts. There are three parts to man. There's the house, which is what we look at and we see every day. I see you, you see me, but what you see is my house. My body is my house. Inside my house, the house has to have a source of power. So you build a house and you put all the stuff in it, and that happens to turn the lights on. So when the Most High made man, he made the house, and then he gave the substantive matter that turns the lights on, that causes the house to function, which is spirit. So his of the good and the good way that you have lived in this life. My teachings, my Torah, I've given that to you for to be in and upon your soul. My soul is what drives my thought process, that gives me the ability to meditate day and night upon that which is good, which keeps the soul healthy. So now, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So if I don't eat good food, my body is going to suffer for that. If my soul does not eat good food, my soul is going to suffer for that. Therefore, the Most High says to me, tell my people that they need to guard and protect their soul. I'm not after the house. The spirit belongs to me. It's their soul that's either going to receive the benefits of eternal life or not. Tell my people to guard their soul. You, Benjamin, have to teach the people and have them to understand that the most important part of who they are is their soul. Why is it so? The soul functions like a hard drive in a computer. I can have an old computer. I can take the hard drive out of it, put it over here, and let it just sit. I can go get a brand new computer. I can go get the proper cables and hook that hard drive up to a brand new motherboard, and that hard drive will populate and everything on it will be revealed. Such is the case of the soul. When the soul, when a man dies, his body goes to dust, his spirit goes back to the Most High, and the soul returns to its point of first existence. Everything goes back to its origin. We go to Daniel chapter 14. Where is it? 12?
12 is the last one.
12 is the last one, yeah.
And Daniel.
We go, and we know I talk about this all the time. We go to Daniel chapter 12. Boop, boop, boop. Where are you, Daniel? Come on. Quit hiding from me. There you are. Daniel 12. And we go to Daniel 12. It talks about verse 2. Many of those sleeping in the dust of the earth will be awakened. Some to everlasting life, and some to everlasting shame and abhorrence. So now, when it talks about those sleeping in the dust, he's not talking about your body, he's talking about your soul, because the soul is the real you. Your body's gone to dust, there's nothing but bones in the grave, and your spirit's gone back to him. So he's talking about your soul. So now you say, your soul that is sleeping in the dust of the earth will awaken, some to everlasting life and some to everlasting shame. So now, what is my purpose on this side of having my whole person in its order, body, soul, and spirit? My purpose of having body, soul, and spirit on this side is that through the body, through the eyes and the ear function, where I take in information, I'm taking in information so that the information that I take in will cause my soul to be healthy and in a right state of being, so that when it's vivificated from the dust, it will awaken to everlasting life. As a man dies, so shall he be revocated. If a man dies wicked, he will wake up wicked. And I got news for you. Wicked people will never see the light of day. So it's not about going to hell. It's about the preservation of my soul to awaken with the ability to gain everlasting life. So you say, well, Rabbi, then what? Well, am I going to be tormented, or am I going to be punished in any kind of way because I don't know? Because the Most High has said to us in Ezekiel, I find no pleasure in the destruction of the wicked. Now, we have to go back to another narrative in the book of Bereshit. We got to go back to the deluge, and we got to go back to the flood.
Very good point, yeah.
The question is, did those people suffer in the flood as you and I know drowning? Because if a person drowns now in the ocean, there is an anguish, there's a suffering that he's definitely going to go through and feel. But the Most High was merciful to those individuals who chose not to follow his way. He did not cause them to suffer. Where they went, what happened to them, you know what? Nobody knows. You know why nobody knows? You know why nobody? There have been no bones discovered from the deluge of a human individual. None. So what happened to them? The Most High was merciful to them. They did not get a chance at life. And their greatest fear was, since they had never seen water before, they didn't know what water was. They never saw an ocean. They don't know what water was. When that water rose up, and to the point where they could no longer stand in it, oh, they were fearful. Hey, Noah, let us in. Okay? No one knew. And the Most High knew. These Negroes were not trying to get in the boat to repent. They were trying to get in the boat so they would drown.
That's right. They were trying to save their own arse.
You got a point over there? You got your finger up.
No, I was.
You got your finger up like you want to say something.
No, I was gonna ask you. So what do you think from reading this? Okay, like we just right here, many of those sleeping in the dust of the earth will awaken, some to everlasting life, some to everlasting shame. So from a Hebraic perspective, what would be, far as you would know, for the definition of the everlasting shame?
Everlasting shame means in contrast to everlasting life. Now, understand something here, okay? Daniel speaks, the words there are spoken in reference to a conclusion. Right. We know that the Most High has a process, and we kind of talked about it last week when we talked about redemption. The Most High has a process. Daniel's speaking to the end of the process. Because awakening to everlasting
life
is germane to the 8th day.
Right.
It's not germane to the 7th day. It's germane to the 8th day.
Ooh,
Now,
teaching a PhD class right now.
now, what happens between now and the 8th day?
Yes.
Between now and the 8th day, we go into a 7th day.
Yes.
In the 7th day is the day of the Messianic era and the day of redemption, where Hebrew Israel, now watch this now, this is the kicker. Hebrew Israel, from all the 4 places in the earth that she has been dispersed, is going to be redeemed out of those places and brought back to the land. Now, we cannot function, nor can we think like Christians that think they have the lock on who's going to be saved and who's not going to be saved.
Right.
They don't.
Right. Yeah.
They don't. The Most High is the one who determines out of humanity and of the nations who is going to be redeemed in the Messianic era, which is the reason why we hear language in the text of redemption of the nations saying, let us go up to Jerusalem, for the Torah of the Most High is being taught there, because he realizes that there are going to be people that are going to be redeemed that are not going to have any knowledge at all of Torah, that are going to be taught during the 1,000-year the millennium, 1,000-year reign in the 7th day. So there are going to be people who are going to be demised in the 7th day. How do I know that? I know that because Zechariah tells me that in Zechariah 13 or 14, when the Most High talks about the 1/3 that he's going to bring through the fire. And that 1/3, he said, I will be their Elohim, they will be my people, my name will be one. And that Zechariah is talking about the 8th day, which is the return to the Garden of Eden. So we know that wicked people and people who don't make the cut for the 8th day are going to be demised, and they are going to be those that are going to be shamed.
That's their everlasting.
That's their
shame,
everlasting.
not making it to
That's
the
their
final
everlasting
goal.
shame.
Okay,
Yes.
Got you.
Yes.
Got you. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. My pleasure.
So one could actually say, but in that instance, when they don't make it, where do they go? And the answer to that, one could say, is that just like it was prior to you being here. Meaning, no existence of you or nothing actually, you weren't here. There was nothing written of you here. So you were cut off. And when you got here and you didn't abide by the Most High's ways and mitzvot, and when you don't make it, and you're waking up to that shame, the shame is that you're cut off from the Most High. You just don't exist anymore.
Okay, so now that raises another question.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Go ahead.
Yeah, what?
Go ahead.
Yeah, what?
Because like I'm just thinking now, like we talked about, like it's some people who they've done a lot of wicked things in their physical life, and if they get a balance of a judgment of that for what they've done, where I'm trying to figure out where in that balance of that justice when they pass come into play.
They have received their reward. They have received their reward in this life. Now, this is something that I know for certain. And this is something that I know for certain. Wicked people and evil people. Let me say this. I'm going to put this out. I'm going to put this in this context. I hope that I'm alive, and I hope that there is a narrative that comes out when Donald Trump dies. I hope there is. Now, why
Shot.
Why do I say that? Why do I say that? Because in most instances, when people of that magnitude that are as deeply wicked and evil as he is, they leave this world screaming and hollering. They leave this world in torment. Therefore, they have received their reward. Now, here's the one thing that nobody wants to talk about, but I've heard it mentioned in several circles of thought. People have talked about dying, and they've come back to life, and they talk about their experience. Okay. As the gentleman in the video gives us a synopsis of dying twice, being shot twice, dying, and then going to this dark place. He felt like the dark place that he was hell because of what he was seeing and what he was feeling within his soul. He talks about it from a point of, I was tormented in that place. You see what I'm saying? So, being wicked is not something that you should ever desire to be, because you don't know how you're going to leave this earth. You don't know how your end is going to be. But in most instances, for wicked people, their demise is not good, and they receive their reward on their way out. Because there's no praise, there's no thought in the grave. If you can't praise me in the grave, which text says, okay, what else are you going to do? There's nothing going on there. So the soul is dormant. And the soul that is revocated into everlasting life, or the soul that is revocated and given this opportunity in the seventh day, because it's good. Because now we look at Daniel. Daniel talked about, I saw the books open. I saw the Ancient of Days sitting on his throne, and the books were open, the book of the righteous, the book of the wicked. Okay? But there is another book that's in there that it doesn't speak about, which is called the book of the undecided. So now you take people that are good people, who have a good heart, who have manifested all the things within Torah principles that define how a human being is supposed to relate to another human being. Right. Those individuals will be revivificated and brought to the land in the day of redemption. Text talks about it. They will be given an opportunity to learn and know what we are learning and knowing now. Those that don't make it, 2/3 that don't make it, poof, don't exist. But you have an opportunity at it. Now, one thing I would say is this. You get a chance to come to the land is going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. And you got to recognize that everybody going to the land is not going to acquiesce to Torah. Now, Torah has some principles in it, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Torah has some death penalties in it, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Well, that's how the Most High is going to whittle it down to 1/3. the death penalty is going to be invoked. If you think you're going to carry on, I'm going to bring you to my land, and you're going to carry on against my laws, I'm not going to have it. I'll just demise you.
I wanted to add on what you said about like when people hit the earth like this, they have a certain experience or so-called awakening. It's funny because I've heard, and I have to go back and look again. It was I believe it was Aleister Crowley, and another guy who did was in the founder of like some satanic church or whatever it was, but they have quotes of them of when they passed, and it's paraphrasing, but it's like one of them is like, "Oh my gosh, what have I done? What I gotten into?" And it's not. It doesn't seem pleasant.
Listen.
At all.
Listen. As I said, we've heard dialogue of people who have passed for a moment. You will experience. You say, Pat Rabbi, how do you know this? I know this because I know this. That's all I can say is I know it because I know it. Your life will play a fast-flowing video on your way out. Don't think that when you are at death's door that your life doesn't spring up before you and those thoughts of your life don't run through your mind. Don't think they don't, because they do. And it's in that place. If you've been a good person, you've been kind, you'll be okay. But if you've been wicked, those thoughts and those things are going to torment you on this side before you ever go to sleep. And it's on this side of the life that you will be tormented. Not in hell. You'll think it's hell, but it's the thoughts that are coming up of your mind of how you lived your life and how you treated people. You'll go out of here screaming. That's all I got to say tonight.
All right.
This has been Rabbi Robert B. Holman Jr.
And Shawn Appleton.
And Trey. And this has been Hebrews in Exile.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.